Hey, Nerd Society. Today, we're diving into a topic that always sparks debate, those Marvel and DC characters that are so similar. They might as well be twins from different universes. You know, the ones heroes and villains with nearly identical powers, origins, or even designs. Some are obvious, while others might surprise you. Before we jump in, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel for more epic superhero content. Now, let's break down the 10 Marvel and DC characters that are basically the same. Flash versus Quicksilver. Speedsters are a staple in superhero teams, but Flash and Quicksilver stand out for their unique abilities and histories. Their origins are vastly different. Flash gained his powers after being struck by lightning, granting him access to the Speed Force, while Quicksilver was born with mutant abilities. This distinction makes Flash more connected to a cosmic energy source, whereas Quicksilver's powers stem from genetics. While Quicksilver can reach incredible speeds, making the world around him seem frozen in time, the Flashes have far greater versatility. They can vibrate their molecules to phase through objects, travel through time and alternate realities, and even lend their speed to others. This makes the Flash family one of the most powerful groups of speedsters in all of comics. Deathstroke versus Deadpool. Anyone familiar with Deathstroke knows he's essentially an evil Batman, possessing the same level of combat skill, strategy, and precision as Bruce Wayne, only with the added advantage of using any weapon or dirty trick necessary to complete his mission. Slade Wilson is a highly trained assassin with enhanced strength, agility, and intellect, making him one of DC's deadliest mercenaries. In the early 90s, Rob Liefeld submitted designs for a new character to Fabian Nicieza, who immediately pointed out, "This is just Deathstroke from New Mutants." Liefeld, a huge Teen Titans fan, never denied the influence, making it clear that Deadpool was almost a direct copy of DC's mercenary. However, while Deathstroke remained a serious and calculating warrior, Deadpool evolved into a comedic, fourth-wall-breaking antihero, setting him apart from his inspiration. Big Barda versus Gamora. Despite their different appearances, Big Barda and Gamora share strikingly similar backgrounds and skill sets. Both were taken from their homes as children and trained to be elite warriors, only to later rebel against the forces that raised them. Barda, raised on Apocalypse as the leader of the Female Furies, was molded into a ruthless soldier before escaping to New Genesis. Similarly, Gamora was the last of her race, adopted and trained by Thanos to become the deadliest woman in the galaxy before turning against him. Over time, especially after Guardians of the Galaxy gained popularity, Gamora's personality and abilities evolved, setting her apart from her DC counterpart. She developed a more distinct identity, gaining enhanced physical traits and connections to cosmic forces. Meanwhile, Barda has remained a powerhouse warrior devoted to her husband, Mr. Miracle, and a symbol of defiance against Apocalypse, reinforcing her status as one of DC's strongest female heroes. Green Arrow versus Hawkeye. This is one of the most obvious comparisons, as both archers draw inspiration from Robin Hood and Errol Flynn's swashbuckling style. However, for a long time, writers were far more generous with Oliver Queen, keeping him a more prominent figure than Clint Barton. Green Arrow was given strong political and social themes in his stories, making him a more layered character early on, while Hawkeye remained largely a supporting hero within the Avengers. Things changed after the Ultimates and Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run, which gave Barton a more distinct personality and depth, helping him step out of Oliver Queen's shadow. Meanwhile, Green Arrow also evolved over the years, gaining deeper character development, a more defined moral compass, and a more grounded personal life. Though they share similar skill sets, both have carved out unique identities within their respective universes. Elongated Man versus Mr. Fantastic. Both characters owe a lot to Plastic Man, who debuted in 1941 with a more cartoonish and comedic approach. However, Ralph Dibny and Reed Richards share more similarities with each other. Ralph, also known as the Elongated Man, uses his stretching abilities primarily for detective work, solving mysteries alongside his wife, Sue. Reed, on the other hand, applies his powers to scientific exploration, constantly pushing the boundaries of knowledge and leading the Fantastic Four into uncharted territories. One notable connection between them is that neither has maintained a secret identity over the years, as both have always been public figures. Additionally, their marriages play an essential role in their stories. Ralph's relationship with Sue was a defining element of his character, while Reed's marriage to Sue Storm has been a cornerstone of Marvel's first family. Despite their shared abilities, their different focuses, detective work versus scientific discovery, set them apart. The Atom versus Ant-Man. There have been multiple versions of these characters, but the most iconic are Ray Palmer and Hank Pym, both created during the Silver Age, heavily influenced by science fiction. Their stories revolve around scientific discovery, as both are brilliant physicists who developed their own shrinking technologies. Using their research, Palmer harnessed white dwarf star matter to become the atom, while Pym discovered Pym particles, allowing him to change size and communicate with ants. Recently, Scott Lang has become the more recognizable Ant-Man thanks to the Marvel Studios films, while Pym's legacy has become intertwined with Ultron. Meanwhile, Ray Palmer now shares the Atom mantle with Ryan Choi, bringing a fresh perspective to the character. Despite their similarities in abilities and origins, Palmer has always leaned more into pure scientific exploration, while Ant-Man's identity has been shaped by espionage, heroism, and redemption arcs. Red Tornado versus Vision. Both androids were originally created by villains, but defied their programming to become heroes. Red Tornado, built by the evil Tio Moro, and Vision, constructed by Ultron, share the common struggle of seeking humanity despite their synthetic nature. They've both served as key members of their respective teams, the Justice League and the Avengers, while grappling with their artificial existence and the emotions that come with it. While Red Tornado has had moments to shine, particularly in the 2010s, Vision has remained the more prominent character. John Byrne's West Coast Avengers run stripped him down to a more robotic, emotionless state, further exploring his identity crisis. His deep connection with Scarlet, which helped shape him into a more complex hero, and Tom King's Vision series took his story to another level, blending family drama with psychological depth in a way that made him one of Marvel's most compelling androids. Superman versus Hyperion. It's easy to lose count of how many characters have been inspired by the Man of Steel, but among them, Hyperion stands out. Originally created as a pastiche of Superman, he has been reimagined multiple times, with Supreme Power offering a darker, more realistic take. While early versions of Hyperion had villainous roots, modern interpretations explored deeper moral dilemmas and the consequences of unchecked power in a complex world. A key contrast between the two lies in their upbringing. Clark Kent was raised by Martha and Jonathan Kent, who instilled in him strong moral values, teaching him to love and protect a world that may never fully see him as one of their own. In contrast, Hyperion was taken in by the government, molded into a living weapon rather than a guardian, making his path one of struggle between control and personal identity rather than one of hope and inspiration. Wonder Woman versus Power Princess. One of the greatest distinctions between DC Comics and Marvel is that DC always had a heavy-hitting heroine on par with Batman and Superman Wonder Woman. As a result, it was only a matter of time before Marvel would create a similar character to compete in the market. Enter Princess Zarda, also raised on a secluded island and fighting in World War II, mirroring Diana's origins and role as a fierce warrior. Despite these similarities, Power Princess has never quite reached the same level of popularity as Wonder Woman. However, she gained significant attention during Supreme Power, where Michael Straczynski and Gary Frank reimagined the Squadron Supreme, essentially creating a version of the Justice League with more grounded, real-world problems. This deconstruction of Zarda's character made her far more interesting, exploring her internal struggles and her place in a world she was never meant to belong to. Batman versus Moon Knight. Both Batman and Moon Knight are wealthy individuals driven by vengeance, often pushing themselves to the edge of their limits. While Batman's motivations stem from the tragic death of his parents, Moon Knight's drive is fueled by his connection to the Egyptian god Khonshu, who serves as both his guide and tormentor. This divine influence gives Mark Spector a unique, mystical dimension that sets him apart from Batman's more grounded, human motivations. The biggest difference between them lies in Mark Spector's mental state. While Bruce Wayne's trauma shapes his dark persona, Mark suffers from schizophrenia, which adds layers of complexity and unpredictability to his character. This mental instability leads to some of the most creative and bizarre stories in superhero comics, where the line between reality and delusion is often blurred, making Moon Knight a more unconventional and, at times, far more chaotic figure than Batman. That's it for today's video, folks. I hope you enjoyed this comparison of these iconic characters from DC and Marvel. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing superhero content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.